An eerie, black-haired figure wearing a copper-patterned face mask with glowing red eyes stands surrounded by swirling dark tentacles. A black-haired man in gray rags walks through a dark cave with a dirty-faced boy spotting a red, fiery glow below. The boy runs ahead toward a massive stone wheel, eagerly calling out to his grotesque master who is grinding materials. Surrounded by a swirling dark aura, the long-haired master sits with his back turned, sinisterly welcoming his good disciple. The master turns his face to reveal a horrifying toothless grin as he creepily complains about the long wait. He leaps high into the air, descending upon them with an oppressive dark crimson energy. The master lands heavily on the ground right in front of the startled travelers. With a sudden vicious swipe, the master hurls the boy straight toward the blazing flames of the furnace. The grotesque master laughs hysterically with his toothless mouth wide open in cruel amusement. Standing near the bloody stone pillar, he tastes the red residue and questions why it tastes like sweet candy. The boy, now trapped and crushed beneath the wheel, weakly remarks on his master's terrifying kindness. A sickening splash of green and red blood splatters violently across the dark cave floor. Screaming with absolute madness, the master demands to start the furnace and begin refining the elixir while the black-haired man watches. The scene fades into a swirl of red dust as the black-haired man closes his eyes in silence. Two unsettling figures in white masks with red cheeks tilt a large vat pouring a boiling crimson broth. As the thick red liquid flows down, a chilling realization whispers that this entire reality is fake. Sniffing the purple smoke, the grotesque master begins to realize the taste, the environment, and even the beggar's head are completely fake. Spinning around toward the blazing red backdrop, the master angrily demands to know if the black-haired man insulted him. The master violently grabs his face, demanding he speak, but the realization that it is all fake grows stronger. Engulfed in a brilliant red and black light, the black-haired man remains calm as the master screams in denial of the fake world. With a final cry of shock, the master's form disintegrates into glowing particles as the illusion completely shatters. The darkness begins to clear as a pair of closed eyes twitch in the fading light. His dark eye snaps open, glaring with determination as he forces himself to wake up. Gasping for air, the black-haired man wakes up in a cold sweat on a white hospital pillow. His frantic huffs echo through the room as he realizes he is tied down tightly with thick white straps. Strapped securely to a bed in a sterile room, a soft, steady beep sounds as he mutters that everything is fake. The black-haired man stands alongside a pale, white-haired girl as a dirt-smothered boy eagerly runs up to him. Looking up at a towering modern hospital building, a voice asks Xiao Li how this latest illusion felt. Staring ahead, Xiao Li hesitates to finish his sentence about the vision. The doctor with glasses and a clipboard gently coaxes his patient to continue explaining his thoughts. Xiao Li looks at the doctor, questioning if he had previously mentioned his junior sister named Wang. From his hospital bed, Xiao Li describes the sheer cruelty of the master refining the elixir in his vision. The doctor nods in understanding, calmly listening to the details of the dream. Xiao Li gazes at his open palm, wondering what the psychological meaning of this different illusion could be. Standing up from his seat, the doctor advises him to focus entirely on his own mental stability instead. The doctor reminds him that since his perception disorder is cured, everything over there is fake and warns him not to get trapped. Xiao Li sits quietly in his striped pajamas, watching the doctor prepare to leave. Walking away, the doctor instructs him to simply follow the rules of the illusion to escape it quickly. Opening the hospital room door, the doctor tells him that is the only way out, while a dark-haired girl peeks in. Smiling warmly from the doorway, the girl steps forward and playfully asks if he heard the doctor's advice. Surprised by her sudden presence, Xiao Li turns his head to look at her. Carrying a white shoulder bag, his childhood friend Yang Na walks in, telling him to listen to the doctor. Staring at her with wide eyes, Xiao Li quietly calls out her name. Yang Na approaches his bedside and commands him immediately to sit up properly. Yang Na looks down at him, her gray eyes reflecting a mix of concern and playfulness. Xiao Li flashes a weak grin, and she teasingly points out how ugly he looks when he smiles. Reaching into her bag, she cheerily tells him to look at the special surprise she brought. With a smug smile, she proudly presents a thick, purple high school exam review textbook. Xiao Li drops his head into his hand, complaining that using schoolwork for revenge after knowing each other since childhood is too cruel. Giggling playfully, she smacks him over the head with the textbook as he cries out in dramatic pain. Xiao Li looks on in surprise as his childhood friend Yang Na offers him a sudden gift. With a bright smile, Yang Na presents a colorful handheld game console as a special surprise. Xiao Li eagerly reaches for the console, but she playfully keeps it out of reach, demanding he call her sister first. Leaning incredibly close with a mischievous grin, Xiaoli immediately complies with her playful demand. Her attention is taken by a sudden, quick slap as Zhao Li snatches the console and happily declares his appreciation. Clutching his new game, Xiao Li eagerly complains about how mind-numbingly boring it is to be stuck in the hospital. Xiao Li laments that his confinement is driving him mad, but Yang Na firmly reminds him to focus on his schoolwork instead. Xiao Li pauses his game as Yang Na gently reminds him not to forget his promise. Looking down at his game, Xiao Li reassures her that he remembers their agreement perfectly. Leaning forward, he looks into her eyes and recalls their shared dream of attending the same university. In a sudden burst of emotion, he wraps his arms around her, pulling her into a tight embrace. The sterile hospital room softens as the two childhood friends share a quiet, heartfelt hug. Blushing deeply, Yang Na softly whispers her hope that he recovers and gets well soon. Noting the late hour, Xiao Li offers to accompany her to the hospital gates, to which she readily agrees. As Xiao Li steps into his slippers, a sudden, unsettling glitch ripples through his senses. A sudden, agonizing wave of pain hits him, forcing him to clutch his head as the world distorts. Xiao Li recoils in absolute shock as he spots a bloody medicine pestle resting right on his hospital table. Yang Na anxiously checks on him, calling him Huaweng, while he desperately wonders why his symptoms are returning despite following orders. He falls into a tense, brooding silence, trying to comprehend the terrifying boundary between illusion and reality. Suddenly breaking the tension, Xiao Li flashes a peace sign and laughs, asking if he's successfully scared her. Yang Na fumes with irritation, crossly asking him if he still considers himself a child for playing such jokes. With an annoyed huff, she turns and walks away while he sheepishly tries to call after her. Staring at the empty table where the pestle once sat, Xiao Li questions if his mind is truly playing tricks on him. Shaking off his confusion, Xiao Li hurries after his childhood friend, pleading with her to wait. From high above, Xiao Li is seen following Yang Na through the hospital courtyard, begging her not to be angry. He explains he only wanted to make her laugh, unaware of a sinister, distorted chuckle echoing in the background. The scenery briefly warps into a dark, cave-like nightmare filled with eerily grinning patients laughing mockingly at him. Back in reality, Xiao Li continues to follow her, wondering if she is truly going to ignore him. Her attention is caught by her playfully bumping his cheek with her finger, proving she was only teasing. Smiling warmly, Yang Na promises to visit him again next week and urges him to take care of himself. Xiao Li stares back in quiet appreciation before softly agreeing to her request. Standing by the hospital gates, Xiao Li waves goodbye as Yang Na happily walks away into the sunset. Walking back alone, Xiao Li remains deeply unsettled, certain that his vision of the medicine pestle was real. Navigating the dim hospital corridors, he grows increasingly worried that his severe mental condition is getting worse. He dreads that a relapse will trap him here past the entrance exams, shattering his promise to Yang Na. Frustrated, Xiao Li throws his hands up and screams, desperately hoping his renowned doctor can still cure him. Suddenly, Xiao Li pauses in surprise as he feels a strange, heavy object tucked deep inside his pocket. To his absolute horror, he pulls out the very piece of malt sugar his senior sister gave him in the illusion. Xiao Li tastes the red substance, stunned to realize that a physical piece of his illusion has manifested in reality. Overwhelmed by the discovery, he rushes down the dark hallway to find Dr. Li and report this impossible event. He freezes as a wild, mad realization strikes him. If the illusion is real, then its immense power is his to take. Returning to the cave, Xiao Li stands before the other medicine guides and bluntly asks them if they have any money. He demands gold, silver, or jade, arguing they have no use for valuables here and should lend them to him. Xiao Li quickly gives up, realizing these poor captives have nothing, just as his white-haired junior sister softly calls out to him. The pale, white-haired girl gently tugs on his sleeve, asking him to follow her away from the crowd. Xiao Li follows her to a quiet corner of the cave, looking down in curiosity as she sits on the cold stone. She reaches down to slide off a slender gold anklet, offering her only valuable possession to him. Holding out the precious golden ring, she sweetly asks if this will be of any help to him. Crouching down to her level, Xiao Li gently accepts the golden band from her hands. He carefully inspects the thin golden ring, smiling warmly as he promises to return her precious anklet later. Li Huawang accepts some sweet malt sugar from his pale, white-haired junior sister, who encourages him to eat it. Several onlookers watch them in silence, muttering that the interaction is incredibly boring to watch. An inner sect disciple stands on a raised path, loudly demanding to know why everyone is gathering around. Looking down with a cold gaze, the disciple sternly orders the captives to get back to work immediately. A sudden rustling sounds as the captives scatter quickly, recognizing the man as an inner sect disciple. The disciple notices Li Huiwang standing nearby and calls out to him with a smug expression. He mockingly notes that Li Huiwang failed to become the master's medicine guide, prompting Li Huiwang to recognize him as Xuanyang. Xuanyang harshly commands everyone to work or face being skinned alive, while Li Huiwang notices his glowing jade pendant. Li Huiwang smiles slyly to himself, determined to steal the valuable jade pendant from him very soon. Late at night, Li Huiwang quietly approaches the entrance of Xuanyang's cave mansion under the dark sky. He successfully slips inside, holding the stolen jade pendant and hoping its sale will cover his university tuition. As he navigates the dark cave tunnels, he spots a faint light ahead and wonders if someone is there. Xuanyang suddenly appears right behind him, asking in a chilling tone why he is there at night. With a sharp gasp, Li Huiwang recoils in absolute shock as he recognizes his senior brother standing there. Holding a burning torch, Xuanyang questions why he is dressed in the clothes of a medicinal sacrifice. Xuanyang invites him to escape their cruel captivity together, claiming they have already dealt with the gatekeeper. Li Huiwang is stunned by their sudden escape plan, realizing the gravity of the situation. A sudden scuffle breaks out as Xuanyang violently attacks him, threatening death if he refused to join them. Distressed by this frustrating turn of events, Li Huiwang decides he can always retreat from these illusionary figures. He commands himself to wake up, his senses glitching wildly as he struggles to return to reality. Sudden rustle sounds as Li Huiwang finds himself back on his hospital bed, still tightly bound. He remains still, hoping the hospital staff have not yet discovered the items he smuggled from the illusion. He decides to wait a little longer before returning to the other world to check on the situation. With his eyes flashing a bright crimson light, Li Huiwang focuses his mind to slip back into the illusion. Returning to the dark cave, he finds the area completely deserted and reassures himself that illusions cannot harm him. The scene shifts to a serene, mist-shrouded mountain range under the soft glow of a twilight sky. Sudden heavy stomp echoes as someone forcefully kicks him, yelling him to wake up immediately. A frantic messenger runs through the caves, announcing the master's urgent order to gather at Huiyan Hall. A soft rustle sounds as the confused captives scramble to their feet, warning each other of impending danger. Li Huiwang stares silently in deep thought, trying to piece together the shifting reality of his surroundings. A large crowd of captives gathers outside the towering dark temple known as the Huiyan Hall. The grotesque master steps forward, his forehead covered in blood, and coldly asks if everyone has arrived. Standing silently in the crowd, Li Huiwang warily wonders what the cruel old man is planning next. With a sinister smile, the master announces that several captives tried to escape during the night. He reveals that 2 of his own personal disciples were among the captured escapees, expressing deep fury. Fuming with anger, the master dramatically claims that their betrayal has completely broken his heart. A sudden clatter sounds as the master steps forward, reminding everyone of the sect's strict rules. Li Huiwang watches silently as a bound disciple whimpers, mentally mocking the escapees for getting caught so easily. The captured disciples hang helplessly in the air, bound securely with thick ropes over the courtyard. With a terrifying grin, the master holds up his glowing hand and commands a spell to open. A sudden rumble shakes the ground as a massive, swirling dark pit opens beneath the hanging prisoners. Li Huiwang remains calm, silently repeating to himself that everything before him is just a harmless illusion. A sudden, terrifying roar echoes as the master stands bathed in a sinister, bright crimson light. A dark panel appears with the chilling reassurance that there is no need to feel afraid. A sudden, violent slash cuts through the darkness as a massive dark claw strikes downward. A horrifying creature crushes a helpless captive in its giant red-eyed claw amidst a spray of blood. Li Huiwang's eye widens in pure terror, frantically questioning if he somehow created this monstrous beast himself. He is gripped by sheer panic, realizing that such physical harm has never occurred in his illusions before. The master stands confidently as colossal, red-eyed tentacles loom behind him, issuing a terrifying warning to everyone. The trembling captives look on in horror as the master commands them to remember the gruesome lesson. The grotesque master struts through the cave, explaining to his captives that helping him ascend to immortality is a virtuous deed. The master grins wildly, promising never to forget their kindness once his divine ascension is complete. Staring down with crazed, bulging eyes, the master demands to know why they refused to escape with the traitors. Li Huiwang looks back defiantly, reminding himself that this master is nothing more than a figment of his imagination. Standing amidst a swirling red abyss, Li Huiwang proudly declares that he has absolutely no reason to fear his own thoughts. A sudden sharp patting sound echoes as the master places a hand on Li Huiwang's head, amused by his bold spirit. Walking away, the master announces that he has promoted Li Huiwang to a registered disciple in charge of the materials room. Stunned by the unexpected promotion, Li Huawang wonders if his status among the captives has truly been elevated. Recognizing that the promotion is simply due to a shortage of survivors, Li Huawang listens as the master decides to grant him a Taoist name. Li Huawang grins grimly, realizing he has just inherited the Taoist name of his deceased predecessor, Xuanyang. Soft rustling sounds as the master tosses a small pouch to Li Huawang, leaving him puzzled as to what it contains. Holding out his hand, the master explains that the 5 red pills inside are divine medicine that grant extended life and strength. The master departs, boasting that helping him yields great rewards while opposing him leads to certain death. A dark and oppressive blood-red atmosphere closes in as Li Huawang begins to deeply ponder the nature of the pills. Looking closely at the red pills, a horrifying thought crosses his mind as he wonders if they were made from human remains. Back on his bed, Li Huawang stares in wonder at the gold anklet, jade pendant, and red pills he managed to smuggle out. Sitting cross-legged in his striped hospital gown, he resolves to find a way to verify the authenticity of the gold and jade. Staring intently at the mysterious red medicine, he wonders if the pills are effective and contemplates trying one. The quiet room is suddenly shattered as Yang Na bursts through the door, loudly calling out his name. She looks highly annoyed, explaining that she snuck out of school and climbed a wall just to answer his call. As she turns to leave in frustration, Li Huawang reaches out and gently grabs her sleeve to stop her. In a series of rapid movements, Li Huawang quickly locks the door and draws the window curtain shut. Blushing furiously, Yang Na anxiously questions why he is shutting the curtains while the nurses are nearby. A sudden intercom chirp sounds as the wall speaker playfully reassures them that no one can hear them. Ignoring the intercom, a soft rustle sounds as Li Huawang quickly slips the smuggled gold and jade into her hands. Li Huawang loudly tells the intercom speaker to stop gossiping and focus their attention on the ICU instead. Looking down in surprise, Yang Na closely inspects the smooth green jade pendant resting in her palm. Leaning in close, Li Huawang quietly commands her to remain completely silent and listen to what he has to say. Her eye widens in pure shock as he whispers the incredible secrets of his manifested items. The scene shifts momentarily to show a transitional blue sky as time passes following their secretive conversation. Several days later, Li Huawang sits dejectedly on his bed, lamenting that his family and doctors believe he is crazy. Feeling completely isolated, he desperately hopes that Yang Na is the one person who will truly believe his story. The intercom speaker suddenly crackles to life, playfully announcing that his girlfriend has arrived to visit him again. Li Huawang's face lights up with sheer joy and excitement as he eagerly calls out her name. Peering out his hospital room door, he is surprised to see armed security guards marching down the corridor. He watches quietly from the threshold as the stern-looking guards pass by his room in a hurry. Spotting one of the officers, Li Huawang calls out to ask if something is wrong in the hospital. Pausing briefly, the officer sternly instructs Li Huawang to lock his door and stay safely inside his room. The officer explains that a patient named Old Lu escaped the ICU, urging him to report any sightings immediately. Li Huawang wonders how Old Lu escaped, but quickly dismisses it to focus entirely on meeting Yang Na. Shifting to the sunny hospital courtyard, the vast open space serves as a quiet meeting ground for the two. Standing together by a brick wall, Yang Na reveals that she had his gold and jade items appraised. She excitedly confirms that the jade is a genuine antique worth a fortune and the gold is completely real. Overwhelmed with ecstatic relief, Li Huawang breaks into a wild, wide-eyed grin upon hearing the news. He joyfully spins a spectral vision of his pale, white-haired junior sister, triumphantly laughing that he is not sick. Walking side by side with Yang Na, Li Huawang smugly asks if she is ready to become a wealthy lady. With a playful punch to his ribs, Yang Na crossly tells him to stop talking such ridiculous nonsense. Turning serious, she gently explains that she cares nothing for the money and values his mental health above all. She demands that he promise to continue his treatments and take his medicine, or she will never help him again. With a glitching spectral doctor looming silently behind them, Li Huawang quietly promises to do as she asks. Spotting something shocking behind them, Li Huawang and Yang Na turn around in pure disbelief as a sudden gasp echoes. The escaped patient Old Lu savagely grabs Yang Na from behind, prompting Li Huawang to scream in sheer panic for him to stop. Demanding that the madman release his girlfriend, Li Huawang charges forward in a desperate attempt to rescue her. A sudden, heavy rock violently strikes Li Huawang directly in the face, causing blood to splatter as he reels backward. Blood pouring from his head, Li Huawang collapses onto the hard pavement as a panicked scream echoes his name. Slumped in a pool of blood, a fading Li Huawang weakly mutters his girlfriend's name as darkness begins to take him. The master reappears in his mind, explaining that the dark pills will grant him temporary immense strength and extended life. Distressed and crying, Yang Na desperately pleads with her unresponsive boyfriend, begging him to tell her what is wrong. In the reflection of Yang Na's tearful eye, Li Huiwang makes a desperate choice and consumes the mysterious red pill. As Yang Na calls his name, Li Huiwang stands up engulfed in a terrifying, blazing crimson aura of raw power. With one eye glowing a menacing red, Li Huiwang unleashes his enhanced strength, brutally striking down the terrified old Liu. A sudden, sickening squelch sounds as Li Huiwang ruthlessly crushes the older patient's face with his blood-soaked bare hand. Straddling his defeated attacker, Li Huiwang coldly reminds the bleeding man that he was repeatedly warned to stop. Sporting a crazed, blood-stained grin and glowing crimson eyes, Li Huiwang furiously asks if his warning went completely unheard. Secured tightly to a metal gurney, a struggling Li Huiwang angrily demands that his captors release him immediately. Suspended by heavy chains in the dangerous patient confinement room, Li Huiwang screams that his violent actions were purely in self-defense to protect Yang Na. Adjusting his glasses, the doctor calmly observes that Li Huiwang's brutal retaliation is considered a lethal counterkill. Leaning in close, the doctor curiously presses Li Huiwang to explain how he managed to inflict such severe, abnormal damage. Caught off guard by the questioning, Li Huiwang nervously stammers as he struggles to fabricate a plausible explanation. Looking intensely serious, the doctor sternly warns Li Huiwang to think carefully because he detests being lied to by patients. Trapped in his restraints, Li Huiwang frantically strategizes, realizing he must keep the existence of the red pills a complete secret. To evade the interrogation, Li Huiwang shuts his eyes, prompting the annoyed doctor to repeatedly call his name in vain. Slipping back into the dark cave, Li Huiwang's dirt-streaked hand reaches out as he surveys the kneeling disciples around him. Reclining on the rough straw, Li Huiwang remains determined to find a way forward no matter what challenges arise. Amidst the dark shadows of the cave, he resolves that leveraging this alternate world is the key to solving his real-world problems. Deep within the ominous temple grounds, ancient Taoist scriptures and statue carvings hint to dark, esoteric cultivation rituals. While disciples kneel before the towering icons, the master calls out to Xuanyuan amidst chanting of sacred scriptures. The master commands Xuanyuan to guide and instruct the newly admitted Xuanyang on the ways of the Qingfang sect. As the master dismisses the gathering, a nearby disciple casts a suspicious sideways glance at Li Huiwang. Noticing the intense gaze, Li Huiwang warily wonders who the stranger is and why he is staring so intently. Walking down the steps, Xuanyuan warns Li Huiwang to show utmost respect to the master's remaining highly petty disciple Zheng Kun. Scratching his head in confusion, Li Huiwang politely asks Xuanyuan what tasks he should prioritize next as a new disciple. Xuanyuan explains that managing the material room is just a starting point, and achieving true immortality is still a long way off. Intrigued, Li Huiwang eagerly grabs Xuanyuan's shoulder and asks if the master is truly capable of achieving divine immortality. Xuanyuan cautiously reveals that only inner disciples like Zheng Kun are permitted to learn the master's coveted immortality techniques. Realizing the immense value of the items here, Li Huiwang secretly resolves to smuggle even more treasures back to the real world. The scene shifts to the Qingfang sect's alchemy room, where a massive cauldron burns intensely with a bright crimson fire. With a wild, terrifying grin, the master channels powerful magical energy to activate the glowing, roaring flames of the alchemy cauldron. Spiraling purple smoke and intense crimson sparks fill the cavernous room as the powerful spell continues to build. A massive, intricately patterned red pill floats in the air while a green jade gourd unleashes waves of vibrant spiritual energy. Laughing maniacally, the master expresses immense satisfaction as the freshly refined red pills are drawn into his floating green gourd. Watching the master's magic, Li Huiwang realizes that smuggling mere treasures is nothing compared to mastering these godlike, reality-bending powers. Seeking to earn the master's trust and learn his magic, Li Huiwang respectfully bows and asks if there are any urgent orders. Clutching his green gourd, the master commands his newly promoted disciple to go and retrieve a specific material named Bai Ling Miao. A promotional scene shifts the atmosphere as Li Huiwang stands alongside the white-haired Bai Ling Miao in a quiet moment. Locating Bai Ling Miao in a dark, blood-splattered corner, Li Huiwang is taken aback when she politely asks if she can help him. The sudden hallucination of the master looming over him snaps Li Huiwang back to reality, forcing him to make a tough decision. An oppressive red darkness closes in as the master's commanding voice echoes loudly, calling out his Taoist name. The perspective shifts back to the hospital, where a worried doctor and a distressed woman look down at him from above. Awakening in his hospital bed with bandages on his head, a highly confused Li Huiwang wonders why the doctor is there. The The brown-haired mother gently leans over Li Huowang, asking about his bandaged head and checking if he is in pain. Bandaged and bedridden, Li Huowang smiles softly as his mother touches his cheek, reassuring her that he feels no pain. A warm, bittersweet smile graces his mother's face as she gazes down at her hospitalized son. From an overhead view, the mother looks at her heavily restrained son, sadly commenting on his weight loss and the hospital food. Mother holds out a box of green grapes to feed him, but a weary Li Huowang insists she does not need to bother. Li Huowang eats a grape and asks his mother to stay, while she expresses relief that he woke up before the doctor could take her to meet the victim's family. Dr. Lai interrupts to inform the mother that the other patient's family is waiting, prompting her to ask for one final moment with her son. Looking deeply distressed, Li Huowang desperately explains that he was only defending himself because the other man attacked Nana first. While packing her bag, the mother reassures Li Huowang that she already knows everything from the doctor and promises to protect him. Restrained and helpless, Li Huowang stares back in silent, troubled contemplation. The mother bids him farewell and tells him to take his medicine, leaving a devastated Li Huowang calling out to her. A close-up of his mother's eye reveals a sharp, serious look back at her hospitalized son. Lying back on his pillow, Li Huowang smiles faintly, confident that his mother will fiercely defend him when the time comes. His vision warps with chromatic aberration as Li Huowang panics, realizing his mother's sudden visit made him forget how to deceive his master. The image of Dr. Lai waves and glitches violently as he suggests they postpone their conversation until his next visit. Returning to the dark cave, Li Huowang groans in pain as a chilling voice notes that he has finally awakened. Li Huowang addresses his master, asking if the matter of refining the immortal pill with Bai Ling Miao has been settled. A sudden, powerful hand forcefully grabs Li Huowang by the throat, cutting off his breath instantly. Grinning maniacally, the terrifying master demands that his disciple open his mouth to receive a dark, writhing substance. With brutal force, the master shoves the grotesque tentacles down Li Huowang's throat as he chokes in agony. Coughing violently, a terrified Li Huowang struggles against the writhing black mass, desperately wondering what his master is feeding him. Mad Master rants about the consequences of opening his mouth too wide while holding the dark-bound creature. The ominous black Tai Sui, covered in talismans and bound by red ropes, thrashes violently as tentacles emerge from its sides. Back in the hospital, Nana holds a glass of water and pills, offering to feed Li Huowang his medicine. Rejecting the water, Li Huowang frantically demands the medicine first, swallowing the dark pills as the vision warps with color. Li Huowang visualizes himself swallowing the writhing tentacles, believing the black Tai Sui is a beneficial cure that will suppress his hysteria. Screaming that he is not sick, Li Huowang desperately fights off the tentacles, prompting the master to summon his disciples. The disciples quickly pin a struggling Li Huowang to the ground, crossing their sharp swords directly over his neck. Looming overhead, the master tells him he cannot refuse, while a pinned Li Huowang defiantly questions why he must comply. The boundary between worlds shatters as Nana's voice calls out to him while he thrashes and shouts on his hospital bed. Leaning down with deep concern, Nana asks Li Huowang if he is all right or if he is feeling uncomfortable. Nana stands by his bedside while Dr. Lai's voice calls out to the heavily restrained patient. Dr. Li questions Li Huowang about his latest hallucination, noting his severe emotional instability. Desperate to block out the visions, Li Huowang begs Dr. Li for medication to suppress the hallucinations so he can finally rest. Dr. Li agrees to fetch some medication, walking toward the cabinets while searching for where the pills are stored. Dr. Lai advises that medicine is only a temporary aid and insists he must follow his specific treatment to cure his hallucinations. Nana offers him the pills, and a frantic Li Huowang demands to swallow them immediately without any water. Relaxing on his bed, Li Huowang breathes a sigh of relief, believing the medicine will permanently banish his ancient visions. Nana asks what scared him, and Li Huowang scoffs at the memory of the cultivator who tried to cure his supposed hysteria. Panic strikes Li Huowang as a black tentacle slides out of his mouth in the hospital room, making him wonder why the hallucinations persist. A comforting voice instructs him to close and open his eyes again as a glowing white figure sinks into the dark void. In the cave, the master scoffs at his defiance, claiming that almost swallowing his hand is proof of his ongoing hysteria. The master orders Li Huowang back to work and reminds him to collect his monthly medicine, leaving the horrified disciple on the floor. Tears stream down Li Huowang's face as he realizes with absolute horror that the grotesque ancient world might actually be his reality. Shattered shards of glass reflect cherished war memories of his modern school life with Nana. Standing amidst the breaking shards of his memories, Li Huowang agonizes over whether his real world is actually the false one. In a preview, Bai Ling Miao reveals that he killed Brother Wang himself, asking if he truly does not remember. Clawing his face in denial, Li Huiwang desperately maintains that Nana is real as another dark tentacle slides into his throat. Kneeling on the ground, Li Huiwang violently retches up black bile, screaming in agonizing denial. A glowing, spiritual vision of Nana manifests to comfort him, bringing a tearful, bloody smile of relief to his face. Distressed and tearful, Li Huiwang opens his eyes with a weak, confused mumble as consciousness slowly returns. A spectral, glowing vision of his white-haired junior sister suddenly manifests before Li Huiwang in the darkness. Desperately reaching out, Li Huiwang frantically calls out for his girlfriend Nana as a crackling energy surges around his fist. Stranded on the dim floor of the cave, Li Huiwang lunges forward in a desperate attempt to grasp the vanishing spectral light. Grimacing with blood dripping from his mouth, Li Huiwang cries out in agonizing despair, questioning the torment of his existence. A crimson darkness closes in as his raging thoughts curse the agonizing torment of being trapped in this hellish world. Kneeling on the cold stone floor, Li Huiwang unleashes a raw, agonizing scream of pure fury and madness. The heavy atmosphere settles as other disciples of the Qingfang sect quietly work at their stone grinding stations. Carrying a small plate of steamed buns, the white-haired Bai Ling Miao gently approaches the dejected Li Huiwang. Bai Ling Miao kindly urges him to eat, expressing concern that he hasn't touched any food all day. Holding the green jade pendant in his hand, Li Huiwang curiously asks her how she originally obtained the treasure. Bai Ling Miao explains that she was the one who insisted on giving the jade pendant to him after he initially refused it. Her explanation triggers a haunting memory of his real-world celebration with Yang Na, mirroring his joy in the alternate world. Looking extremely tense as the parallel memories clash, Li Huiwang quietly presses her to explain what happened next. She reveals that senior brother Wang struck his head with a rock during his episode, matching his real-world head injury. After she explains that Wang thought he was dead, Li Huiwang angrily demands to know the whereabouts of his attacker. With a solemn gaze, Bai Ling Miao reveals that Li Huiwang was the one who brutally killed senior brother Wang. Horror strikes Li Huiwang as he realizes the person he killed was not old Lu but senior brother Wang. Clenching his fist in absolute horror, Li Huiwang begins to realize his dual realities are tragically twisted. An upside-down, glitching reflection of his hospitalized self reveals the terrifying truth that old Lu never existed. An oppressive red darkness closes in as he finally accepts the devastating truth that he is truly insane. The scene shifts to show disciples using ladders to clean the massive, blood-stained alchemy cauldron in the cavern. Standing near the blood-slicked floor, Li Huiwang desperately questions what his horrific memories of the human experiments actually mean. A chilling realization hangs in the darkness, warning that everyone trapped in this sect is doomed to die. He directs his burning hatred toward his master, blaming the scabby-headed Taoist for orchestrating all the horror. Walking past, the scabby-headed master notices Li Huiwang's intense gaze and asks if he has something to say. The master sternly demands an answer to his question, while Li Huiwang maintains a respectful bow to hide his thoughts. With a terrifying, menacing glare, the master demands to know exactly what is running through Li Huiwang's mind. A preview slide shows the master deciding to dismiss his suspicions and order the start of their preparations. The master orders Li Huiwang to quickly retrieve the medicine from the feeding room, leaving him highly confused. Zheng Kun angrily accuses him of failing to deliver the required medicine guide, causing them to miss their timing. To deflect the master's menacing suspicion, Li Huiwang quickly speaks up to offer a submissive explanation. Li Huiwang flatters the master's incredible alchemy skills, earning an annoyed scoff of pathetic flattery from Zheng Kun. The master laughs heartily, clearly pleased by the blatant flattery, and praises Li Huiwang's ambition. Zheng Kun is utterly dumbfounded and frustrated that the master actually fell for such an obvious lie. The master pompously explains that the path of external alchemy is highly complex and not easily mastered. Li Huiwang asks if the master is close to immortality, deeply relieved to have successfully evaded suspicion. Standing near the blood pool, the master confidently declares that he will undoubtedly succeed in becoming an immortal. The master cryptically asks if he knows why, and Li Huiwang submissively replies that he has no idea. A tense, chilling silence fills the cavern as the master's creepy, scarred eye stares intensely at him. Zheng Kun interrupts to warn the master that they must prepare the alchemy soon before they miss their window. Agreeing with his disciples' warning, the master laughs and commands them to begin the preparations immediately. Zheng Kun continues lecturing him, emphasizing how critical the medicine guide and exact timing are to refining the perfect pill. Ordered to get to work, Li Huiwang realizes in horror that the master still intends to sacrifice Bai Ling Miao. The scene shifts to the ingredient room, where terrified disciples despair that there is no escape from their doom. Stealing his resolve, Li Huiwang approaches the kneeling Bai Ling Miao and firmly instructs her to follow him. She submissively agrees to follow him while he looks down at her with a solemn, conflicted expression. As they walk, she tearfully begs him to deliver a final message to her parents if he escapes alive. Overwhelmed by grief, the white-haired girl lets out a soft, trembling sob as tears stream down her face. Crying bitterly, she begs him to tell them she is deeply sorry for failing to care for them in their old age. Li Huiwang coldly refuses to grant Bai Ling Miao her final wish, warning the tearful white-haired girl that her time is running out. Brandishing a sharp knife, Li Huiwang demands she strip, causing the terrified white-haired girl to tearfully question his intentions. The cavernous room echoes with violent, bloody splashes as the master continues his gruesome alchemy work. Supporting the weakened white-haired girl, Li Huiwang announces to the master that the medicine guide has been successfully retrieved. Cackling maniacally, the scabby-headed master praises Li Huiwang before aggressively demanding the white-haired girl to come closer as glowing energy surges. Dark energy bursts as Li Huiwang grimaces, remembering how eating a human refined pill granted him this terrifying transformative power. Spitting up blood, a shirtless Li Huiwang darkly contemplates how to murder the master who has consumed countless human pills. The scabby-headed master maniacally reaches forward once again, loudly demanding his good disciple to approach him immediately. With a sudden painful scream echoing, Bai Ling Miao is violently ensnared by the master's glowing blue energy. A sudden sharp snap sounds as the scabby-headed master brutally snatches the white-haired girl by her throat. The master pauses in deep confusion, narrowing his eyes as he notices something unexpected about his sacrifice. A steady drip sounds as blood stains her trousers, causing the disappointed master to click his tongue in frustration over his bad luck. Holding the choking girl, the master angrily laments that her sudden menstrual flow has completely ruined her medicinal properties. Casting her aside, the master orders Li Huiwang to return the useless medicine guide, to which he submissively complies. Though Li Huiwang secretly plans their escape, the master suddenly halts him, demanding he retrieve a replacement medicine guide. Li Huiwang recalls another white-haired guide as the master demands he hurry to avoid delaying his grand alchemy. Li Huiwang is struck by horror upon realizing his error as the replacement white-haired girl begs him for her life. Heavy thuds sound as the cauldron rages, crushing Li Huiwang with the realization that he failed to save her. The bloody master menacingly invites Li Huiwang to step closer and witness the gruesome secrets of his coveted alchemy. He bitterly realizes that as long as this scoundrel continues refining human pills, he will never save anyone. A blinding explosion erupts from the furnace on the master's command, forcing Li Huiwang to watch the ongoing horrors. He firmly resolves that he cannot allow himself to become an accomplice to the master's heinous, murderous deeds. Pleased by his apparent eagerness, the master rewards a kneeling Li Huiwang with a freshly refined crimson pill. Bowing low, Li Huiwang humbly thanks the master while accepting the single glowing pill, knowing it is his key. Resolved to save himself and the remaining guides, Li Huiwang listens as the master urges him to eat the pill. A sudden, intense crimson light flashes as the raw magical power of the ingested pill begins surging within him. His eyes wide with feral rage, Li Huiwang's mind is consumed by a single desperate thought to kill the master. With a sudden whoosh of dark energy, he realizes too late that the refined pill is highly problematic. Steam rises as a shirtless Li Huiwang screams in agonizing pain, overwhelmed by the intense burning heat inside him. Enveloped in thick smoke, the master instructs the struggling Li Huiwang to return to his quarters and rest. The master explains that the potent pill will take time to fully absorb, and Li Huiwang weakly agrees. A sharp crack sounds as Li Huiwang leans against the cave wall, accidentally shattering the solid stone with his newfound strength. Unleashing his newly acquired monstrous strength, Li Huiwang violently shatters a massive stone wall with a single bare-handed blow. Distressed memories of the begging white-haired girl clash in his mind as he recalls consuming a human refined pill. Trembling as he spits up blood, he ponders how to defeat the master who has consumed countless human pills. Approaching him in the smoke, the concerned white-haired girl gently holds the exhausted Li Huiwang, asking if he is all right. Looking away with a grim and heavy expression, Li Huiwang struggles to find the words to explain his torment. Gazing at him with gentle compassion, the white-haired girl comforts him, saying he shouldn't blame himself for being powerless. A heavy, mournful silence fills the cavern as they stand together, enveloped in the dark shadows of the cave. Clenching her hand, the white-haired girl looks up with intense purple eyes and directly asks if he intends to fight the master. Taken completely off guard by her direct question, Li Huawang sweats profusely as a wave of shock hits him. The grubby male disciple suddenly approaches the pair, lightheartedly teasing them about eating steamed buns together like a married couple. Though she suspects him of eavesdropping, the dirty disciple frantically denies it, explaining he was merely seeking Li Huawang's protection. Li Huawang frantically shushes her, warning that the master can sense them, but she reassures him they are safe today. Deeply bewildered by her explanation, Li Huawang frowns and asks who exactly this mysterious senior brother Yu is. As nearby disciples despair over their impending doom, Li Huawang bitterly notes that everyone now views him as the master's accomplice. Grabbing her hand, Li Huawang urges her to move, stating that this area is no longer safe for them. The dirty disciple watches them leave with a solemn, silent gaze, his expression filled with unspoken worry and dread. As they quickly make their way through the passage, Li Huawang presses her to explain who senior brother Yu is. She explains that Yu Laoye is an invisible, intangible entity controlled only by Taoist masters, regularly returning to the market. Li Huawang realizes that the master cannot monitor the monastery for the next 2 days, giving him a crucial window of opportunity. Bai Ling Miao cautiously asks if he is truly prepared to go against their terrifying master. Showing his raw hatred, Li Huawang fiercely declares his desire to utterly destroy the monstrous Taoist master. A sudden voice chimes in to join them as a hand unexpectedly extends, offering them some food. A dirty disciple introduces himself as Gao Hua and humbly offers them pancakes as a gesture of goodwill. Glaring with intense pink eyes, the suspicious white-haired girl demands to know if Gu Hua was eavesdropping on their secret plans. Terrified, the dirty disciple frantically denies spying, claiming he only overheard her talking about her last wishes while seeking protection. Bai Lingmiao remains highly skeptical, questioning his true motives, while Gao Hua insists he simply admires Li Huawang. Staring down at Gao Hua, a grim Li Huawang quietly asks if the young disciple is truly not afraid of him. Gao Hua shrugs off any fear, warmly claiming he understands that Li Huawang was forced to make those dark choices. Finding resolve in his loyalty, Li Huawang accepts Gu Hua into their alliance, hoping he won't suffer a tragic fate. Standing tall above the cave, Li Huawang somberly realizes that 3 people are still far too few to defeat the master. Over the following days, Li Huawang quietly transfers medicinal ingredients to the alchemy room while secretly observing everything. He is forced to watch in helpless silence as terrified, weeping disciples are dragged away one by one to their doom. Surrounded by the phantom cries of the sacrificed, Li Huawang steels his resolve as the 8th dose of medicine is finally prepared. Standing high above the glowing crimson abyss, Li Huawang respectfully informs his master that the refined batch is finally complete. Pleased with his recent performance, the scarred master promises to reward him by teaching him a blood purification formula. The scabby-headed master proudly boasts that this simple-sounding recipe is actually an immortal technique from the sacred heavenly scripture. Li Huawang quickly copies down the dictated recipe, then asks the master to check if his written notes are correct. The meticulous diagram outlines the human anatomy and precise vital organs required to execute the master's gruesome alchemy. Gao Hua smiles warmly as he extends his hands, offering simple, humble pancakes to comfort the weary white-haired girl and Li Huawang. Master continues dictating the precise measurements, ordering Li Huawang to record the exact amounts of human pills and cyperus rhizome. Kneeling in the crimson glow, Li Huawang carefully documents the specific steps and breathing techniques required to nurture the furnace. The dark instructions outline the final watches of the night when the magical furnace will finally reach its peak readiness. Seated quietly on the stone floor, Li Huawang stares blankly into the distance with a blood-red formula written on his robe. Presenting his work, Li Huawang politely informs the master that he has recorded the entire recipe directly onto his Taoist robe. With a quiet grunt, the scarred master begins to read the copied text, prompting a tense silence from Li Huawang. Without warning, the furious master unleashes a blinding, destructive strike directly at a shocked Li Huawang. Hurled backward through the crimson smoke, Li Huawang is utterly stunned by the scabby-headed beggar's sudden, violent outburst. Spitting up a trail of blood, he crashes through the air as the sheer force of the blow tears at his robes. Lying heavily on the cave floor, Li Huawang realizes with shock that the master didn't even look at the writing before attacking. Struggling through the pain, Li Huawang remembers that there are no scriptures or written calligraphy anywhere in the entire monastery. A startling revelation strikes him as he watches the dark silhouette of the master walking away through the flames. He is struck by the chilling realization that the powerful master is actually completely illiterate and reacted out of defensive insecurity. Sometime later, the arrogant Zheng Kun gloats over Li Huang's injury, mockingly remarking on the master's apparent favoritism. Li Huang uses this to mock Zheng Kun right back, pointing out that Zheng Kun probably couldn't handle the master's complex immortal techniques. Coldly brushing his rival aside, Li Huang tells him to step away so he can continue preparing the master's ingredients. Consumed by rage, Zheng Kun suddenly lunges forward with a brilliant lightning-fast energy strike. Spitting blood from the heavy impact, Li Huang is mockingly told that a mere formula doesn't make him special. Zheng Kun viciously warns him never to use the master to threaten him again, fueled by years of jealousy. Kneeling in his own blood, Li Huang lets out a dark, mocking laugh, taunting Zheng Kun for his complete lack of talent. Pushed past his breaking point, the enraged Zheng Kun screams in fury as energy surges around his fist. A devastating blast shatters the stone cavern, burying the area in a chaotic storm of flying debris. Another disciple stands over the rubble, sighing over the injured youth's stubborn refusal to simply listen to advice. Helping the bruised Li Huang back to his feet, the disciple chides him for needlessly provoking their dangerous senior brother. Wiping the blood from his mouth, Li Huang confidently replies that Zheng Kun would never actually dare to kill him. He casually adds that the invisible entity Yulao Ye is constantly watching over them from the shadows anyway. The helpful disciple stops dead in his tracks, turning to him with a sweat-dropped, completely bewildered expression. Staring back in pure horror, Li Huang is struck by the shocking realization that his fellow disciple has absolutely no idea who Yulao Yu is. A chilling truth begins to take shape as Li Huang pieces together the master's complete lack of trust in any of his disciples. A nearby disciple raises concerns about Li Huang's returning symptoms while Li Huang realizes he has found a critical breakthrough. A mysterious purple spiritual entity suddenly manifests and questions if Li Huang is allied with a previous intruder. The bizarre vase-headed spirit threatens to summon her father if Li Huang makes a single move. An unexpected transition briefly pauses the high-stakes confrontation as the creative team issues an appeal. Li Huang recalls deliberately provoking Zheng Kun by leaking rumors about the invisible entity to initiate his plan. Zheng Kun contemplates the shocking information he was given, his expression turning dark and highly suspicious. Li Huang covertly monitors his rival, who initially maintains his standard training routine to avoid suspicion. A month later, on the critical day of pill refining, Zheng Kun finally uncharacteristically skips his training session. The scene shifts to the dark and foreboding cavern housing the master's heavily guarded private residence. Observing from the shadows, Li Huang watches Zheng Kun prepare to infiltrate the residence, but Zheng Kun suddenly turns around. Li Huang is highly surprised to witness the elite disciple Xuan Yin stepping out of the door. Xuan Yin communicates with Zheng Kun using a bizarre, completely incomprehensible language as they coordinate their move. The two co-conspirators cast a spell together to disable the protective barrier guarding the master's private chambers. Seizing his opportunity once the barrier is dispelled, Li Huang prepares to slip inside the unguarded room. Stepping through the massive open wooden doors, Li Huang cautiously begins his own investigation of the chambers. A nauseating, decay-like stench immediately assaults Li Huang's senses as he ventures deeper into the darkness. Hearing a strange scurrying sound from above, Li Huang looks up to inspect the gloomy ceiling. In the center of the dark room, he discovers a bizarre stone cylinder tightly wrapped in red string. Li Huang realizes that this sealed stone monument is the legendary heavenly scripture treasured by the master. Reading the red runes, Li Huang is perplexed to find a spiritual scripture entirely unrelated to actual alchemy. The purple guardian spirit suddenly reappears, once again demanding to know if he is allied with the intruders. The vase-headed entity threatens to ring her bell and alert her father to Li Huang's unauthorized intrusion. Li Huang mockingly dares her to do it, confidently accusing her of deceiving the illiterate master all along. Terrified by his sudden deduction, the guardian spirit stammers and demands to know how he uncovered her secret. Li Huang triumphs internally as he confirms his suspicion that the spirit has been fabricating the master's recipes. Splitting into multiple forms, the desperate spirit defends her actions, claiming she was forced to translate the text. The smug spirit explains she easily fools the illiterate master, prompting Li Huang to ask about the recipes. She admits to making up the gruesome pill formulas simply to appear useful and avoid being discarded. Moving with blinding speed, Li Huang suddenly grabs the startled vase spirit by her porcelain neck. With a single violent motion, Li Huang smashes the vase to pieces on the stone floor. The shattered spirit shrieks in agonizing pain as Li Huang coldly notes her fake recipes were harmless alone. Li Huiwang looks down with absolute chilling focus as his grim realization about the master's actions solidifies. He fiercely reminds the dying spirit that her fraudulent formulas directly caused the horrific deaths of countless disciples. The fading spirit weakly gasps in confusion as her consciousness begins to slip away. The furious master suddenly discovers the intrusion and bellows a murderous demand to know who entered his home. Holding a freshly severed head, the enraged master demands answers from his silent, terrified disciples. An oppressive, overwhelming pressure fills the cavern as the master's massive spiritual aura looms over the lineup. The master slowly paces before the trembling group, searching for any visual sign of guilt. Li Huiwang watches silently as the tense interrogation begins, preparing himself for the inevitable questioning. The bloody remains of the shattered spirit lie on the cold stone floor as a grim warning. Losing his patience, the master declares he will personally interrogate every single disciple one by one. The master corners his first targets, demanding to know their whereabouts during his absence. A terrified guard stammers that he and his partner were strictly obeying orders at the temple entrance. Under the master's suffocatingly close, terrifying scrutiny, the trembling guard desperately maintains his innocence. As the master turns to question Xuanyuan, Li Huiwang silently braces for his own impending turn. An agonizing, heavy silence grips the remaining disciples as the threat of execution draws nearer. Overwhelmed by sheer terror, a nearby disciple shakes uncontrollably in the lineup. The master grabs Li Huiwang, fiercely demanding to know his movements after he delivered the alchemy ingredients. Gulping nervously, Li Huiwang fabricates an alibi, claiming he was busy prepping ingredients in the materials room. The master immediately turns to the other disciples, asking if anyone can verify Li Huiwang's alibi. A heavy, tense silence fills the cavern as the battered disciples stand in neat, quiet rows under the dark ceiling. Danyangzi demands the truth, promising to reward anyone who helps find the culprit by sending them back home. Stepping forward, the white-haired girl Bailing Miao defends Li Huiwang, claiming he was with them the entire time. Placing a hand on her chest, the worried Bailing Miao firmly vouches for Li Huiwang's innocence. Danyangzi stares back suspiciously, asking if she is truly willing to vouch for her fellow disciple. Holding a gruesome piece of flesh, Danyangzi turns to the crowd and questions the other disciples about the culprit. An eager brown-robed disciple raises his hand, snitching to the master that Xuanyang is the suspicious one. The snitching disciple smugly points out that Xuanyang did not visit the materials room even once today. Shockwaves ripple through the cave as Bailing Mao, Li Huiwang, and the senior disciples react in sheer disbelief. Standing in a sinister red aura, Danyangzi silently contemplates the accusation while holding the bloodied flesh. Drip, drip sounds as Danyangzi walks past the crowd while a sweating Xuanyin watches him with intense dread. A sudden wet splash sounds as a dark, bloody spray violently splatters across Xuanyin's terrified face. Kneeling with a nervous grin, the brown-robed disciple informs Danyangzi that he has successfully identified the culprit. The brown-robed disciple begs to go home, but Danyangzi furiously exposes his lie since Xuanyang personally delivered the morning ingredients. Danyangzi threateningly asks if he wishes to die as a floating droplet of blood hovers above the trembling disciple. Plip-plap sounds as the terrified disciple frantically bows, admitting he lied out of foolishness and begging for mercy. Drip, drip sounds once more as Danyangzi walks through the quiet crowd while a sweating Xuanyin watches in absolute terror. The brutal splatter sounds as a dark spray of blood violently hits the frozen, terrified face of Xuanyun. Danyangzi reflects on the accusation, noting how pleased someone seemed when Xuanyang was being falsely accused. Transforming into a terrifying monster with glowing red eyes, Danyangzi reaches out with a bloody, dripping claw. Swoosh sounds as Danyangzi lunges forward, mockingly asking Xuanyin if he enjoyed seeing Xuanyang falsely accused. Grabbing Xuanyin by the collar, a menacing Danyangzi snarls his name in a terrifying close-up confrontation. Thud sounds as a terrified Xuanyin collapses to the floor, desperately crying out to his master in denial. Shifting the blame, Xuanyin points at Zhengkan, desperately accusing his senior brother of forcing him to do it. Shocked by the sudden betrayal, Zhengkun's eye glows a sharp red as a sudden threat closes in on him. Swoosh sounds as Zhengkun frantically turns and leaps into the air, desperately attempting to flee the cavern. Danyangzi glares at the escaping traitor, realization dawning upon him as Zhengkun dashes away in the background. Danyangzi notes that only Zhengkun could break his room's restrictions as the traitor frantically leaps away in the distance. Swoosh sounds as Danyangzi reveals a copper coin, asking if Zhengkun truly believed he was trusted. The copper coin glows with a bright crimson light, locking its target directly onto Zhengkun's forehead. Thud sounds as Dan Yangzi steps forward firmly, sealing the escaping disciple's grim fate. Calling Zheng-kun a foolish overestimator, Dan Yangzi activates his magic, slicing the escaping disciple into bloody pieces mid-air. Whispers of shock echo as Bai Lingmiao gazes down in sorrow, deeply troubled by the brutal display of violence. Staring at the bloody floor, a solemn Li Huawang quietly admits his own wrongdoing under his breath. Zheng-kun's severed head squirms on the floor, desperately reminding the master of his brother's past sacrifices for their escape. Looming over the head, Dan Yangzi dismisses the plea, claiming he knows exactly what the traitor is thinking. Zheng-kun begs for his life as a cripple, but a heavy foot brutally stomps down onto his face. Dan Yangzi looks down coldly, declaring that Zheng-kun and his deceased brothers are ultimately all the same. Crack sounds as Dan Yangzi ruthlessly crushes the severed head, sending a massive geyser of blood spraying into the air. Gesturing toward the stone slab, Dan Yangzi challenges the remaining disciples to read and understand the heavenly book. In a festive illustration, Bai Lingmiao and Li Huawang smile together while holding a scroll depicting a friendly snake. Li Huawang repeatedly bows before a massive ancestor statue while Dan Yangzi counts each bow until the 9th one. Dan Yangzi officially welcomes Li Huawang as his closed-door disciple now that the incense offering is complete. The disciples bow and congratulate them, while Bai Lingmiao watches with a deeply worried and anxious expression. Dan Yangzi dismisses the disciples while Li Huawang secretly plots to help his master achieve a grim form of immortality. Standing before the ancient stone slab, Dan Yangzi notes that he remembers Xuanyang as literate. Tip-tap sounds as Dan Yangzi stands beside Xuanyang in the dimly lit chamber, asking for confirmation. Looking down with a quiet resolve, Xuanyang calmly confirms his literacy to his master. Whoosh sounds as Dan Yangzi channels swirling green spiritual energy, pleased with his disciple's response. Dan Yangzi holds a glowing orb of green light as runic chains swirl around him in the dark room. Li Huawang reluctantly agrees to translate the stone monument's mysterious runes for his highly suspicious master. Realizing the previous fake cultivation techniques were completely made up, Li Huawang knows he must carefully fabricate a new plan. Deciding to completely alter the scripture's meaning, Li Huawang confidently tells his master that he finally understands the text. The impatient master barks at Li Huawang to stop hesitating and immediately reveal whatever is written on the stone. Initiating his deception, Li Huawang questions why a previously taught pill formula is completely absent from the ancient scroll. The illiterate master is visibly taken aback, his confusion growing at the unexpected question about his prized scroll. Li Huawang explains that the scroll details internal cultivation techniques that must be paired with specific external elixirs. Eagerly grabbing Li Huawang's shoulder, the master listens intently as the youth lists off several highly toxic ingredients. Li Huawang feigns ignorance, shrugging as he asks what kind of rare medicinal herb Old Master Yu could be. A wild realization washes over the master, who believes this finally explains his failure to achieve immortality. Enraged by the deceased spirit's betrayal, the master unleashes a devastating blast of spiritual energy across the cavern. Leaning dangerously close with glowing red eyes, the master threatens Li Huawang against ever trying to deceive him. Li Huawang maintains his earnest facade, pleading that he only wishes to achieve immortality alongside his master. And agonizing silence fills the space as the master intensely scrutinizes Li Huawang's face for any sign of deceit. Seemingly convinced, the master smiles broadly and orders Li Huawang to begin explaining the newly discovered cultivation techniques. The master gloats about achieving immortality together, completely blind to the dark, calculating shadow looming right behind him. Later in the dark caverns, the white-haired girl holds a torch and worriedly asks Li Huawang what is wrong. Holding his own torch, Li Huawang asks if she knows any other local legends similar to the Old Master Yu. Li Huawang silently notes that his past reading of novels saved him from being exposed by his illiterate master. Turning to the anxious crowd of disciples gathered in the darkness, Li Huawang addresses his loyal companions. Li Huawang reassures the trembling disciples that his promise to help them escape the sinister temple still stands. Overjoyed by his reassurance, the disciples hail him as their savior, with one falling to his knees in gratitude. Li Huawang quickly stops them, humbly pointing out that he would have been doomed without their collective help earlier. Recognizing these strange creatures as his true companions, Li Huawang asks for their help to secure their ultimate escape. The white-haired girl speaks of another sinister entity, sharing a terrifying legend known simply as the Great Granny. Standing before a massive dark gateway, Li Huawang wonders what makes this Great Granny legend so particularly sinister. Shushing him with a finger to her lips, the girl warns him to keep his voice down. She explains that the horrifying entity takes a different, terrifying form in the mind of every person who sees it. She warns that speaking of the great granny too often will inevitably summon the creature to hunt them down. Intrigued by the chilling warning, Li Huiwang quietly asks what happens if the entity actually catches a victim. She reveals that the entity will relentlessly track you down, visualized by a sudden, terrifying strike from the shadows. She adds that once the creature finds you, you are doomed to transform into a great granny yourself. Suddenly, she transforms right before his eyes, her face splitting into a fanged, monstrous mouth as she lunges forward. Snapping back to reality, the girl smiles normally and asks if her information about the entity will be useful. Stunned by the terrifying mental image she painted, Li Huowang merely stares back at her in awkward, speechless silence. Agreeing that the bizarre information is highly valuable, Li Huiwang asks the crowd if anyone else knows other secrets. The disciples eagerly offer their own grim stories, with one detailing a horrific tale of children disguised in dog skins. Li Huowang refines his request, explaining that he needs actual bizarre supernatural anomalies rather than simple scary bedtime stories. A medicine guide named Zhao Wu speaks up, claiming to know about a mysterious creature called the cupplefish. He explains that the bizarre, multi-mouthed cupplefish is a rare anomaly that only appears during massive floods. Deeming it a suitable supernatural anomaly, Li Huawang accepts the cupplefish as a viable ingredient for his fake recipe. Eager to assist, another medicine guide named Zhao Zi raises his hand to share his own supernatural knowledge. Li Huawang gently stops him, declaring they have gathered enough information for now and instructing them to wait quietly. Zhao Zi is left bewildered by Li Huiwang's sudden departure, deeply confused by the strange request for supernatural secrets. Back in the temple, the master vigorously rings a sacred golden bell, unleashing powerful waves of spiritual energy. The bell's toll triggers an agonizing headache in Li Huowang, making him panic that his plan was discovered. Regaining his composure, Li Huowang continues reading his fabricated text, asking his master about the mythical great matron. The master listens intently, marveling at the brilliant elemental balance of toxic ingredients described in the fabricated scroll. The master experiences an epiphany, realizing that malevolent spirits can indeed be refined as ingredients to achieve immortality. Crazed with ambition, the master triumphantly raises his golden bell, prepared to hunt down the sinister entities. Looking upward, Li Huiwang freezes in sudden disbelief as a shocking realization hits him. A sharp groan escapes his lips as the golden bell rings out, unleashing brilliant, painful waves of spiritual energy. Grimacing in agony, Li Huiwang clutches his throbbing head, terrified that his secret plans have been discovered by his master. He stares desperately at the ancient stone monument, frantically wondering where his complex deception could have gone wrong. Suddenly, swirling currents of vibrant, chaotic colors erupt around Li Huowang, leaving him utterly bewildered. The colorful forces begin to coalesce in the darkness, pulling together in a powerful spiritual convergence. A massive, horrifying entity named Master Yu manifests beside the master, bearing its grotesque fanged jaws. Li Huowang watches in shock, realizing these terrifying spirits were summoned directly by his master's golden bells. A heavy chewing sound echoes as Li Huiwang looks on in utter horror, watching the crazed master eat dirt directly from the ground. The floating, many-eyed spirits hover around the master as glowing white scriptures materialize in the dark air. The master turns away, proudly claiming that no task is too difficult and that he will snatch whatever ingredients he needs. Smiling sinisterly, the master insists that ruthless theft is the only true way to obtain what others refuse to give. He explains that the summoned spirit, Master Yu, is incredibly useful for locating rare items and elixirs. The master reflects on his painful childhood, recalling how an older beggar stole his only food when he was 5. He boasts about a lifetime of ruthless stealing, listing off the wives, horses, and silver he snatched in his youth. His list of thefts grew as he aged, claiming he snatched secret techniques, magical artifacts, and even his own disciples. He proudly points out that he even stole the entire Qingfeng temple, completely indifferent to the gods or ancestors. The master patronizingly explains he is only sharing these dark lessons because he views Li Huiwang as one of his own. Frustrated by the youth's hesitation, the master strikes Li Huowang over the head, calling his educated mind far too rigid. Raising his thumb, the master advises using teamwork, poison, or tricks whenever direct theft is not enough. Rubbing his head, Li Huiwang dryly remarks that his master truly understands the harsh realities of life. The master passionately dismisses his critics, defending his unorthodox path toward achieving supreme power. Standing before the glowing stone monument, the master vows to achieve immortality and prove all his doubters wrong. Staring at his bowl, Li Huiwang is deeply repulsed by the idea of sharing a festive dinner in this ghostly cavern. Mystical runes of the ancient text begin to glow, describing how the way of heaven balances the world. The sacred scripture details how the ancient immortals achieve divine transformation through absolute emptiness and stillness. Clinging to the towering stone monument, Li Huiwang continues translating the celestial book to make his fabricated path credible. Surrounded by heaps of charcoal and materials, Li Huiwang sits on the cold stone floor, calling out to his master. Looking up with a feigned smile, Li Huiwang asks if they should finally start the dangerous alchemy furnace. The master unexpectedly stops him, suggesting they first sit down to enjoy a traditional New Year's Eve dinner. Li Huiwang sits in tense silence, deeply disturbed by the bizarre request to set plates for their deceased companions. The remaining disciples gather around the stone table as the master joyfully serves hot dumplings to the group. The master clicks his chopsticks together, warmly urging his silent, terrified disciples to eat up. An awkward, tense silence hangs over the table as the trembling disciples look down at their food in misery. Holding a steaming dumpling, the master nostalgically recalls his impoverished youth when he had never even seen such food. He fondly remembered a kind family who once welcomed him into their home to share their warm New Year's feast. A wet chewing sound fills the room as a chilling smile spreads across the master's blood-smeared face. Overwhelmed by the grotesque scene, Li Huiwang forcefully stuffs the foul dumplings into his mouth, crying in silent despair. Heartwarming memories of a modern-day family dinner flash through his mind, contrasting sharply with his grim reality. He desperately clings to these beautiful visions of his mother, refusing to believe his cherished memories are fake. A soft pat sounds as the master places a hand on his shoulder, gently telling him to eat slowly so he doesn't choke. Tears stream down Li Huiwang's face as he suddenly realizes his own uncontrollable weeping. The master reaches out to hand out traditional red envelopes, encouraging the disciples to tuck them under their pillows. Clutching the unexpected gifts, the bewildered disciples hesitantly offer their formal thanks to the master. The master laughs off their stiff formality, telling them to simply wish him a Happy New Year instead. Scratching his head, a nervous disciple stammers out a warm New Year's greeting to his formidable master. The master joyfully tosses red envelopes onto the empty plates set for their deceased companions, ensuring everyone is included. Leaning in close, the master promises that master and disciple will soon achieve immortality and share eternal life together. Dark, chilling expression washes over Li Huiwang as he quietly agrees to his master's words. Suddenly, Li Huiwang erupts into wild, maniacal laughter as he resolves to seize immortality for himself. The crazed master greedily consumes a glowing golden elixir, triumphantly declaring his path to achieving supreme immortality. The companions stand together on their treacherous journey, their bond serving as a quiet source of support. Although the dangerous elixir refinement proceeds smoothly, the master's deeply suspicious nature keeps him constantly on guard. Li Huiwang realizes he was brought along due to suspicion but remains completely resolved and utterly unafraid. The deceitful master commands his disciple to consume the elixir first, claiming protection while harboring deeply sinister motives. Ingesting the pill, Li Huiwang silently resolves to drag his master down to a shared, poisonous demise. A massive surge of spiritual energy erupts within Li Huiwang, leaving him overwhelmed by the intense sensation. Filled with manic energy, Li Huiwang claims sudden enlightenment and ascension as his master watches in silent fascination. Convinced by his disciple's dramatic reaction, the ecstatic master eagerly prepares to swallow his own immortal elixir. The illusion of ascension shatters as Li Huiwang vomits blood, collapsing in agony from the lethal poison. Bleeding and weak, Li Huiwang mocks his master's futile cultivation efforts with a grim, defiant smile. Li Huiwang gleefully reveals that the entire immortal cultivation technique was a fake copied directly from a novel. With a final mocking warning, Li Huiwang tells his master that his only future is becoming a ghost. Enveloped in scorching spiritual flames, Li Huiwang aggressively demands his dazed master's attention amidst the raging heat. A sudden, thunderous blast of crimson spiritual energy violently erupts, shaking the dark cavern with immense force. His face horribly distorted, the trembling master gasps in horror, mistaking his disciple for a terrifying inner demon. The crazed master violently lashes out, desperate to protect his delusion of ascending to godhood at all costs. Lost completely to his delusions, the master screams that the ancestral master has arrived to carry him away. Li Huiwang watches in grim silence, realizing his master has completely lost his sanity to his obsession with immortality. Clutching his throbbing stomach, a suffering Li Huiwang deeply regrets not having a knife to end his agony. As his consciousness fades, Li Huiwang hears Nana's desperate voice calling his name from the blinding white light. Reaching his hand toward the dark void, Li Huiwang wonders if Nana has finally come to take him. Finding peace in the comforting illusion, Li Huiwang hears hospital staff declaring a preliminary diagnosis of severe food poisoning. While doctors rush to perform a stomach lavage, a bewildered Li Huiwang weakly tries to reject the hospital illusion. A desperate voice echoes through the crimson haze, pleading with Li Huiwang to hold on and stay alive. A fly is reflected in Li Huiwang's wide eye as a desperate voice reminds him of their solemn promise. With a sudden, violent spasm, Li Huiwang vomits a torrent of dark, toxic blood onto the cold stone floor. Kneeling in his own blood, Li Huiwang coughs violently, having successfully purged the deadly poison from his system. Surprised to still be alive, Li Huiwang suddenly realizes with horror that his master might have survived as well. Li Huiwang's eye widens in absolute horror as a chilling realization strikes him amid floating white feathers. In the distorted red light, the grotesque master manifests as a towering skeletal abomination, screeching about his twisted ascension. Giant, multi-toothed mouths emerge from the darkness, leaving Li Huiwang completely horrified by the bizarre and grotesque sights. A towering beast of mouths and wings looms overhead, illustrating a truly horrifying caricature of divine, immortal ascension. His mind utterly warped, the master screeches maniacally about finally comprehending the secrets of true Tao cultivation. The monstrous master makes his final mad proclamation of enlightenment as the chaotic spiritual energy peaks. A horrifying creature breaks apart, leaving only gruesome, blood-soaked skeletal remains scattered across the red floor. A brilliant, blinding white flash of light erupts, completely cleansing the blood-splattered cavern of the master's dark energy. Silence returns to the red-drenched cavern as a battered Li Huiwang stands alone amidst the absolute carnage. Covered in blood and sweat, Li Huiwang stares blankly into the quiet cave in exhausted, speechless silence. Looking down, Li Huiwang's gaze falls upon a grotesque piece of his master's shed skin on the bloody floor. Staring at his master's remains, Li Huiwang lets out a dark, cynical chuckle that echoes hollowly in the dark. Alone in the bloody chamber, Li Huiwang collapses to his knees, his maniacal laughter filling the grim silence. Holding the master's bumpy scalp, Li Huiwang wonders if the tyrannical cultivator is finally and truly dead. Staring at the bloody relic, Li Huiwang questions his own survival and frantically wonders what he must do next. Remaining disciples suddenly arrive, pointing their swords at Li Huiwang and demanding to know where their master is. With a vacant, chilling expression, Li Huiwang silently points toward the bloody remains of their deceased master. Li Huiwang tells the shocked disciples that the bloody mush they are stepping on is indeed their former master. Refusing to believe the truth, the terrified disciple screams in denial, accusing Li Huiwang of lying to them. Li Huiwang raises his master's severed scalp, presenting the gruesome relic as absolute, undeniable proof of his death. Li Huiwang explains he killed Laito for a personal grudge, but the indifferent disciples simply walk away, ignoring him. Li Huiwang raises Laito's severed scalp and bell, announcing his death and telling the disciples they can finally go home. The stunned disciples recognize the piece of skin, confirming that Laito is indeed dead and their ordeal is over. Clatter sounds as the ecstatic disciples rush toward the exit, shouting for everyone to follow them home. The joyous news of Dan Yangzi's death spreads among the escaping disciples as they carry each other toward the light. The disciples depart in groups, calling out to travel together and offering a final word of thanks to Brother Lai. Left completely alone, an exhausted and blood-covered Li Huiwang collapses in silence, staring blankly into the quiet cavern. A sudden noise catches Li Huiwang's attention as he spots several sword-wielding disciples standing near a doorway. Violent sword clashes erupt in the blood-splattered room as a disciple desperately calls out for Xuanyang to join the fray. The greedy disciples threaten Shanyang, urging him to leave while they kill Dan Yangzi's accomplices to claim the heavenly book. Li Huiwang sighs over their greed, explaining the book is merely ancient scripture and pleading with them to leave together. Glaring with glowing red eyes, the hostile disciple warns Xuanyang to leave immediately if he has no interest in the book. A sudden shift plunges Li Huiwang into a surreal red void where he desperately reaches out and calls Nana's name.